Hey, and we're back again. So in this one, we want to give some links to our previous page and next page and so on. Okay, so to give links to these buttons here, we shall it's not as easy as just saying page number is equal to something here and adding it there, because if we get this URL here, because we have to give it a link to go to, so if we get this URL and just add page number at the end, we already have page here. So if we add another one, we'll keep adding page equals page equals page equals, which is not useful. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. So let's go down here to the buttons themselves and let's add some A tags, right? So let me copy this here. Okay, so A tag over there, A tag over here. Oh, what's happening? Okay, so I'll copy that A tag to there as well. So the idea is this: we already know the page number here because we have this variable page number right there. So let me copy that. And what I could do is just say something like, we know this is index.php, right? I can just say index.php and then put a question mark. Actually, this seems like it can work. So page is equal to, and then at the point that I want to add a page number here, I can put my PHP tags like so, and then echo that out and put page number. And instead, let me close this here. And instead of just putting page number there, I can just say page +1, because I want to go to the next page on this one, and do the opposite here and say page -1 over here. So I could put this in brackets, for example, to make sure that it evaluates to an actual number. So this will seem to work, kinda. So let me refresh this and you can see that. So we have next page here, which is page 3, and this one is page 1. So we're on page 2 right now. So this is correct. So let me go back to page 1, and there we go, page 1, and then page 2, and then page 3, right? So we don't have a page 3 because there are not enough posts. If I go back to the top here, where is this? If I say limit is 2, so that means we can only have 2 posts per page. So now we can have more pages. So there's page 1, there's page 2, and there's of course page 3. So you see that it's working just fine. However, there's a slight problem here that you might not notice the first time, and that is, if for example we have these paginations on your profile or on somebody's profile. Let's say I go to this user's profile right here. So as you can see here, there's ID is equal to that, right? ID is equal to an ID for this user. Now, if I had those two things here, it will cause a problem, because once I click on this, it's going to take me to index.php. Okay, I could change this to profile.php to suit the current page, but the problem is going to be that now I'll only have a question mark with page is equal to, and then I won't have this ID over there. Now you could say, okay, let's add the ID as well here, because we know that on that page we're supposed to have an ID, but this becomes very cumbersome very quickly. It's not very scalable, because it means every time we add a new variable for some other functionality here, we have to consider this part as well. Then we come and add it there, otherwise it won't work. So that's not a very good way to do things. We have to make it automatic somehow so that we don't have to worry about it. Once we just copy this part and put it below the page, whatever page number that is, we shouldn't care about that. It should just work. So in order for that to happen, we need to do a few things. Let's go index.php right here, and we need to find a way to get a dynamic version of this. So whatever is in here should automatically be captured, and then we put it on our buttons there so we can capture the whole thing. So now to do that, let's come here where there is this is index.php, right? Let me start at the top here so I don't have to scroll down. Right where a posting begins here, let's echo out what's contained in the server. So there's this global variable called server, which is very useful, contains information about the server, as you would have guessed. So print readable so that we can see, because it's an array. So let's go back to index.php, and there we go. So this is not looking very good. It's very hard to read this. So as usual, I will use some pre-tags here to make it much clearer what we are dealing with. So let me put one opening tag at the top, remove that, and one closing at the bottom, so that if I refresh now, I get this nicely formatted thing. So what we're looking for is what's up there. So let me just add a page number here, page equals to whatever that is, just so we can also look at the query string here to be available. So what we're trying to do is find something here that contains this information, okay, from the URL, because the get part only contains the query string there, but we want something that has some resemblance of that. So if I go down here and look at script name, for example, now script name contains /mybook/index.php, right? This looks great. There's script file name here which contains C, XAMPP, the whole file path, but we don't want this because we want to still have localhost at the very beginning there, right? We need that localhost there. So this is not the ideal candidate, but this one looks ideal. Okay, this one actually looks better because it has the page number as well at the end there, but keep in mind that we want to edit this page number, so this might not be a good idea. We can easily get whatever the get variables are inside the get super global, so we don't need these get variables right here. So I'll get the one that doesn't have the get variables, so which is this one. So that's server script name, right? So let me copy this for a reminder, and I'll put it here. So that's what we want. So that's the script name. So there's a slash here at the beginning, and we're supposed to have localhost at the beginning here. So now there won't always be localhost here. If you send it to your online server, there's going to be something like, for example, facebook.com here, and then that part. So we want that also to be automatic. So we can do that by saying there's a server address here, which is the IP address, but we can get server name, which, as you can see, is conveniently localhost. So let me remove that, copy that. So we are recreating this query here. So there's script name, there's server name, there's the script name, and then now we need our query strings over there, and we know how to get those using the get super global. So we can finish up with this here, and we have what we want. So let me cut this, come down here, and where is this? I want where I am reading. Right there. So we can do it at the very top here. Get current URL. Okay. So here I will say server. So let me just send this to a variable called URL is equal to server, like so. Now there we go. So server, boom, server name, that's number one, and then concatenate, so we'll put a dot there. Let's get the server part again, put it here. Script name, so we need our commas there, inverted commas. So we have the server name, the script name, there we go. So let me put that there, and let's show that we are actually getting something useful here. So I will say echo URL. So refresh. So this is what we are getting so far. Localhost mybook index.php looks pretty close to that, right? So that's very nice. Then we can add page number there by ourselves. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we could have several of these get variables. So instead, we'll have to loop through them. So what I will say is at this point, I'll just put an for each statement like that. So we are looping through the get variables here. Okay, for each loop through. So at this point, let me remove that URL. Great. So now the thing is, once we loop through, we have to put a question mark there. So that's one thing I forgot. We can say URL is equal to. So instead of equals, we put dot equals so that we add to what's already there. And let me put a question mark so that we can use that to add our stuff here. Okay, brilliant. So now at this point, once we loop through and get all the get variables, we're just going to add them back to the URL. So exactly what we are doing here, let me copy that here, and I'm just going to say the key and the value. So I need both of these, the key and the value. So I'm going to say copy this is equal to key concatenate, then we put an equal sign, and then we put our value on the other side like this. So getting it back. So let's try and echo what URL contains here so you can see what has happened so far. So let me refresh. And as you can see now, we've added back page is equal to whatever that is. So now at the end here, I can add something else like file is equal to some more gibberish. And you see that that also is added there. But there's one problem here. There's supposed to be an and at that point, which is not here at this point. So we have to include the and as well. Otherwise, we risk making this one variable. So let's come back here and say, okay, so we have that question mark here. And I think it would still work if we had a question mark and the and symbol here. So you can make this as elaborate as you want so that it checks here, adds that. Actually, let's do just that. No, just to be thorough. Let me just say num is equal to 0. I just want to keep count of how many we've added so far here. And at this point, I'm going to say num plus plus. So every time I loop through, I'm adding to number. And then I'll put an if statement here, which I'm going to say if num, for example, because here it's 0, now it's 1. So if it's equal to 1, which means this is the first time we're adding something here. So the very first time we don't need to add an and here because there's already a question mark there. So this is going to work out fine. So if num is equal to 1, and then we'll do an else statement. And then here we are going to copy exactly this, except we will add the and at the beginning here, like so. Okay, so if I refresh the page now, you see there's an and there, so just like the way it is there. So page is equal to and file is equal to whatever that is. Now here, this is where the magic is. I have to be able to change just the page here and ignore everything else. So at this point we are going to say right here, we just check what the key is. So so let's come here and say if key is equal to, we are looking for page. So if the key is equal to page, we are going to do something else. So I will open and close brackets there, and then I'm going to say else we are doing this. So let me indent this a little bit do that. I think I'm just going to duplicate this and bring it there. So opening and closing there. So if key is equal to page, we'll do something else. Else is equal to that. So if we run this, we'll see that page will be ignored here, which is great. Yeah. So this hasn't actually helped at all. Okay, what I should have done is this, to make sure that that actually helps, is to question the page inside here, because as you can see now we have that question, and I don't want that, though this is not a problem at all, but just for the optics. So I'm just going to get this, cut it out, remove this because now it's useless. I'll bring this back like so. So I want to have that question in here, so paste it there. It's very easy to get confused here when there's too many if else statements. That's why sometimes it's good to use that one line if statement. It makes reading code very easy. Okay, so if key is equal to page, we're going to do something else. So we'll copy this, and instead we're going to say is equal to page number. Okay, page number plus 1, like that. Okay, then we'll copy exactly this up to, let me copy that, and we'll do the same here. Let's put a question mark, an else statement, and then let's copy this, paste it there, and do the same, page number plus 1. Great. So now when we echo this, you're going to see that we've, oops, undefined variable page number. Where is this? 227. 227. Wait a minute. Okay, that's because we are declaring our page numbers down here, so which is a very bad thing, very bad practice to declare your variables later. So let's declare them at the top there, so we don't have it complaining. Non-numeric value encountered on line 230. I love errors. That way I get to solve problems, because I'm joining all these strings together. So there's a string here, a string there, and then what it's doing is it joins these strings together and the page number with all this, and then finally tries to add 1. So at this point, this is non-numeric, right? This is why we're having this array, non-numeric value. So to sort this problem out, like I said previously, is to tell it what to evaluate first. And so I'm going to do this. Just put the brackets there. It means this will be evaluated first. So once it gets the number, the answer, then it won't matter over here. So let me refresh. Yeah, there, it's working. So let me do the same thing here, like so. Okay, so there we go. So if you notice here now, page is equal to 3. Oh, and why is file equal to 3? Not cool, man. So here, page key is equal to page, it should be that. Key is equal to page should be that. Okay, so my bad, I moved this to the wrong place. So let me swap these two. I'm trying to evaluate the wrong thing. Hey, move guys, move. Okay, that has failed me completely, so I'm going to just cut this, paste it here, and then move this other guy up a notch. Okay, so only the page number should be evaluated. That's good. So page equal to 3, file equal to whatever that is. Okay, so good to go. Now we are moving pages. The only thing is there should be next page and previous page. So this is for the next page. Quite all right, but we need to have the same thing for previous page and next page.